Welcome back to Broadbeach Bowls Club on Australia's Gold Coast for the third and final session of the third and final Trans-Tasman Test between, of course, Australia and New Zealand, the Jackaroos and the Blackjacks. And after already featuring men's triples and women's fours today, we are featuring now women's triples. And this match, which may very much decide the women's Trans-Tasman, New Zealand with a 3-1 lead in this third and deciding test. I can tell you Carla Krasanik is not playing for Australia. That's been a change, missing this tournament unfortunately due to illness. But they have the experienced Lindsay Clark off the front, Natasha Scott playing as skip, Beck Van Ash playing as two, and a change for New Zealand as well. Selena Goddard is the lead. Val Smith, who just celebrated her 600th game for New Zealand, an amazing achievement, and Caitlin Inch to skip this New Zealand women's triple. Already had 2 rounds of action today in the last phase. The New Zealand women's 4-13-8 win over Australia after the Joe Edwards came back, and quite an incredible comeback it was, 20-3 down, and in the end going down 21-18 in the women's singles to Kelsey Cottrell. In the men's singles, it was Aaron Wilson 21-16 over Jamie Hill, and in the fours it was an 18-11 win for the New Zealand men's four. So that's their first win of the day. In comparison to the New Zealand men, who New Zealand women rather, who 3 from 4 so far today. So one more win and they will wrap up the Trans-Tasman Test. Also, of course, in action we have the women's pairs alongside this women's triples match, and of course the men's pairs and men's triples, and we'll keep you up to date with them as well. Quick chance, though, to go through all the other results from that second session. It wasn't a great session for New Zealand in the women's development. And New Zealand went down 21-9 in the singles and 16-15 in the fours. And in the men's development, it went down 21-13 in the singles, but won the fours 15-12. So that was a good result after the 13-21 loss in the singles. And then in the over 60s, the singles went down 21-6 and the fours lost 18-17. And in the singles, a 21-15 loss and a 19-4 loss for the fours, and that's in the men's over 60s as well. So overall, not a great session for New Zealand, but it has been good reading for most of this week for the New Zealand women as they are completing their trial ends here at Broadbeach Bowls Club. And after winning the first test, narrowly going down in the second test, they have a chance, to New Zealand, to win the women's Trans-Tasman right here, right now. It's gone down to the last 2 matches of the competition, which you always ask for, and now set for a thrilling conclusion. I'm Brenton Vanessaroy. I am again with you for this third and final session of the day. Alongside me is Kevin Hicklin. Very good afternoon, Kevin, and we're looking forward to what should be, hopefully for New Zealand anyway, great afternoon, evening New Zealand time of celebration.
Certainly, yeah, let's hope so. And I see there Gary Lawson just going over to Caitlin Inch and wishing her all the best. We just saw in that last round a very good round from the New Zealand side. We saw, I think, the best performance from the Caitlin Inch skip forward side. They played exceptionally well against Australia. That was Caitlin Inch, of course, Val Smith, Selena Goddard and Taylor Bruce, and they combined exceptionally well to carve out a very, what I would call, tidy win against Australia. And then we saw our singles player Joe Edwards up against Kelsey Cottrell, and we nearly saw one of the most remarkable turnarounds of all times. Joe Edwards was in fact trailing 20-3 in the race to 21, and in fact got up to 2018 or 2019, I think the score was, and it was only with virtually the last bowl of Kelsey Cottrell on one end, that she finally got that elusive one to give her the victory. But a very good round for the New Zealand women's side. And we saw with the men, Jamie Hill, of course, going down to Aaron Wilson. Virtually talking to Jamie Hill after the game. He said it really came down to one end, and he dropped a 4. And he made the comment to me that he did that himself. He just played 4 bad bowls on one end, and that was it. The door was open, and Aaron Wilson capitalised on that. And a win for the New Zealand fours side of Ellie Forsyth skipping Gary Lawson, Andrew Kelly, and Crystal Lee. They had a good win over Australia. So we're away here in 1 underway, and 2 good opening bowls from Selena Goddard, the New Zealand lead, just in behind the jack. And the formula for New Zealand, really, I'm not going to say it's simple, but win 1 game, and we've the Women's Trans-Tasman Trophy, it can be locked away at Bowls New Zealand headquarters. So 18 ends here, and also, of course, the women's pairs as well. Equally important, of course, that with Taylor Bruce leading with Joe Edwards, and they'll be up against the Australian combination of Kelsey Cottrell and Chloe Stewart.
Yeah, and must remember that New Zealand don't actually have to win. Obviously, 2 very narrow defeats, and that would be enough to win on differential. At the moment, they have a lead with 3 wins and 1 loss in this third and final Trans-Tasman test, but having won 19-16, 17-16 in the morning. So that's obviously a +4 differential, and then adding to that with a +5 differential of 13-8 win in the women's fours, that made it +9, and obviously 3-shot loss in the singles, so +6 differential they have at the moment. That'll may be something that we watch for as this third and final session of the third and final Trans-Tasman test unfolds.
And I also asked Val Smith at the break, after celebrating her 600th cap, what the colour of her bowls actually were, and she gave a particular colour, white and oblique or brick or something, and
you don't even know it.
Well, she drew a touch ahead at Val Smith. Anyway, Val Smith looked it up, did the old Google search, and that was even wrong, so we don't really know what the defined colour is.
They're black.
She says,
white and black. 2 non-colours.
So we go white, black and purple. That's no mauve, only purple, and white and black. Or black.
Keep it simple.
Well, shouldn't you actually say black and white?
What is it? Does it matter?
Well, it's more New Zealand than white and black, isn't it? Black and white.
I don't think it matters. which way around are you talking? You're confusing things now.
So New Zealand holding the shot on this, the first end of 18 in this women's triples match. 2 very good bowls from Selena Goddard to open the head, and equally 2 very good bowls from Val Smith as we watch the second bowl. Australians will just disappear under the head.
Yeah, so equation is simple for both teams. New Zealand must win to guarantee, win one of these 2 matches to guarantee the Trans-Tasman title for Australia. They must win, and they must win by decent margins too to overcome the shot differential at the moment, which is +6 to New Zealand after the first 4 of 6 matches, as the skips make their way to the mat. It'll be Caitlin Inch to bowl first. Of course, these sides have met, the triples sides, a few times in the Trans-Tasman. It was a 16-11 win to Australia on day 1 of the test, but then a bounce back 18-12 win for New Zealand. And then yesterday, of course, we had in the women's triples a 17-7 win to New Zealand, and then this morning a 17-16 win for New Zealand as well.
Now, been a change around here in this Australian lineup on the playing format with Kelsey Cottrell coming into the triples.
Yes, that is interesting actually, isn't it? So they've brought in some heavyweight support here, and so that means it's certainly a change to the pair.
So the pair will be Chloe Stewart's here as well, so it'll be,
we assume it's
Rebecca Van Ash
and Lindsay Clark. So, yeah, changes all round. So, almost worked for Australia. That late change, obviously, with Kelsey Cottrell going into the singles yesterday afternoon. A narrow defeat to Jo Edwards. He got better of her eventually in the session just played.
So the jack just moved.
I think Kelsey Cottrell had enough of Jo Edwards, frankly, and decided, can I be part of the triples, please? I don't want to play Jo Edwards again.
Could well be too. As we watch Caitlin Inch here getting down to endeavour to draw the shot inside. This is the New Zealand bowl, and she's done just that. The young New Zealand skip, player of the tournament, no doubt about that. She's been outstanding.
Yeah, just looking to finish it off, and after a brief word with Sharon Sims, the rink coach, the 4 and the triple. That's exactly what they want to do. It was really cool that they could celebrate Val Smith's 600th with a win, but they want to win the Trans-Tasman. That's what they really want to do, to pay tribute to Val Smith. As New Zealand pick up 1 on the first of 18 ends in this women's triples match. New Zealand already on the board in the men's triples. 4-0 they lead after the first end, and in the men's pairs 1-0 New Zealand leading, and yet to be a score yet in the women's pairs. I think the scoreboard just hasn't been updated. They have played an end. I'll keep you up to date with that action as well. The women's matches in particular. The men's matches pretty much dead rubbers this third and final test, with Australian men having won the first 2, just trying to restore a bit of pride of the men. But the women, they have a chance to defend, isn't it? Defend the Australian title.
And good opening bowl here by Selena Goddard. Been very impressive today, has Selena Goddard. Played very, very well. As we watch now, the second end underway here. And as we said, there has been a change in the Australian lineup. As we see, Chloe Stewart off the front for Australia, and Kelsey Cottrell playing in the middle, who just had that fantastic game out in front of us here in the singles against Jo Edwards. So here now is the Caitlin Inch second bowl. There's 2. Another good bowl from Selena Goddard. Draws right alongside the jack. That's the sort of starts that you want.
Of course, Chloe Stewart and Kelsey Cottrell played together in the pair, so it really is a completely different women's triple for Australia. So deciding, after losing 3 of the 4 triples matches before this, they had to make a change, and they made quite a drastic change. It's not just moving Natasha Scott into skip. They've actually got rid of Beck Van Ash completely and moved her into a pair.
Yeah, they've certainly made some, throughout the event actually, Brenton, they've made some significant changes right throughout.
Well, during the multi-nations more so than the,
was confused
than the Trans-Tasman.
We
couldn't keep up.
No, we didn't know who was playing where. All we knew is that they were in
Australia.
Australia. That's about all we knew. So here now is Val Smith. Look at this bowl on the second end. Sit right alongside the jack. In fact, right in front of the jack. It's a very, very good start by this New Zealand combination.
It certainly is. This is just carrying on their good work, of course. All 3 of these players were part of the 4 we saw in the second session of our coverage of this third and final Trans-Tasman test here from the Broadbeach Bowls Club. As Kelsey Cottrell's going to come in under the line.
There's no doubt Selena Goddard, in my view, over the last couple of days, so it was a bit in and out, so to speak. Good games, bad games during the multi-nations, but in this Trans-Tasman, I think she's played exceptionally well, consistently well, and would certainly be impressing the selectors. Her form has improved as the 10 days of bowls here has gone on. Certainly highlights, doesn't it, Brenton, that you keep playing day in, day out, and you get into a groove, and it just makes a difference, doesn't it?
Certainly does. It's certainly benefited from all the time on the greens here. Obviously, a good.
Another great bowl by Val Smith. Look at this.
That's amazing. She's relishing the occasion, isn't she? Certainly wasn't daunted or anything. Of course you wouldn't be, but you know, with all the extra little excitement around the 600th, didn't get carried away. It's worked out very well for her. And now looking to just celebrate with yet another victory in her 601st and celebrate with a Trans-Tasman title.
And Australia, a slide off the bowl. And it may still be 2 to New Zealand. The other thing is that we have to remember, of course, Brendan, from a New Zealand point of view, if we take like Tata Bruce and Selena Goddard, you know, they both are normal working people back there in New Zealand. And for those who aren't aware, the Australian team as such are virtually all full-time players. That's really what they do. They're assigned to various clubs and they play in all of the major events. They've just played in the BPL, and there's other events that they continuously play in. So, surely Caitlin Inch is based here, Joe Edwards based up at Pine Rivers, but a couple of our players who the two who more than likely struggled early on to get consistency, it's taken them, and I can now see that, you know, the more they play, get together, that we're starting to now see and bear the fruit of that. So it's important as we build toward the World Championships that, assuming, and I'm going to take the punt, that I see Selena Goddard in the side, the way she's played here so far, that these players do get some time together to play, whether it be, I don't know, a training camp or something, because, you know, the World Championships is 2 hard, solid weeks. So now, as the back end has come to the Trans-Tasman, I think they've really highlighted that they're a good combination.
Yeah, and I think obviously you have to be firing though from the start of the World Championships.
Certainly
you can't to be there at the end. You have to be playing well at the start, so they can't slowly warm into that event. So certainly they'll want some kind of lead-up tournament or camp, like you say, to spend some time on the greens here. Obviously, they're going to be back here in just a few months' time for the next Trans-Tasman. Quite a short turnaround.
Well, you're literally at the World Championships. You play in each discipline. It's either 10 or 11 rounds of section play that you play. And you play these games every game. So you're right. There's not sort of, you haven't got a lot of time to get into it. So I presume the New Zealand team would be here for about a week beforehand, I would imagine. And they'll spend time on the greens and playing other countries and getting into the World Championship, into that mode as we watch this bowl of the Scots coming, trying to get contact down on the jack. And
unfortunate. That's made it certainly 2 to New Zealand now. And that's confirmed. 2 to New Zealand. So 2 of the 18 ends, 3-0. The New Zealand women's triple leading Australia. And that's very pivotal and deciding third session of the third and final Trans-Tasman Test. The women's pair also in action. And it's 1 apiece after 2 ends there. Joe Edwards skipped women's pair up against Beck Van Ash, so a new rival for her. And also have 2 men's matches in progress as well, the men's pairs and triples. And the triples, New Zealand leading 6-0 after 2 ends, and in the pairs, New Zealand leading 2-0 after 2 ends. So overall, been a pretty good start from the Open Blackjacks so far.
Oh, they have, and the men will be disappointed, as we've already spoken about, Brenton. But I still feel with the players that we've got here, and you've got Shannon McElroy and you've got Mike Kernahan back at home, and a couple of others hanging around. We'll have a very, very strong side come the World Championships and the next Trans-Tasman. And anyone that underestimates the likes of Gary Lawson, Shannon McElroy, Ellie Forsyth, Mike Kernahan, well, you underestimate them at your own peril. As you watch this bowl of Selena Goddard's always under the line from the time she let it go, but got a bit of a feather off the bowl, which was helpful. And what has impressed me as well, Brenton, and I know I've spoken about it a lot, is the importance of getting back to the centre line, and this New Zealand women's side, especially the Selena Goddard, has certainly done that exceptionally well, thus giving the New Zealand, whether it be in the fours or be in the triples, giving bowls on the head for her skip. And we haven't seen a drop of rain in 10 days, have we?
No. I certainly haven't. This is day 10. I've obviously been here, Kevin as well, throughout the multi-nations and the 3 days of the Trans-Tasman. Certainly have not seen any rain. I think there might have been a bit of rain overnight one night because it seemed a bit wet on the ground, but I certainly didn't see it or hear it.
No, there was the Sunday before play got underway, there was the hailstorm, etc., which hit Helensvale, and they had those golf balls, etc., and there was a flit of a shower down here on Broad Beach on the Sunday afternoon, but it was just done and gone, but nothing, no, not really any rain, you would say.
Oh, that was before I arrived. So just smoke haze, isn't it?
Smoke haze certainly is. Now here it's the second end, and Australia have dominated the start of this end. New Zealand got 3 short bowls, and we've got Australia holding 3 shots. So it's imperative here that Val Smith gets down to the head. Him to get second shot is fine. Send the bowl out, let it work. 18 ends, of course, in these triples game.
Very important bowl this, and this, of course, 2-bowl triples format with 3 short bowls for New Zealand. Needs something.
It's on a good line, this bowl. Will certainly cut one out.
Yeah, still all 4 New Zealand bowls short. 3 well short.
Holding 2 shots is Australia.
Kelsey Cottrell coming into this women's triple. If you have just joined our coverage, a few changes to this Australian women's triple. So that the women's pair of Cottrell and Chloe Stewart coming in to partner Natasha Scott, who was the 2 in this triple, moved into skipping role. And Beck Van Ash, who was the skip of this, both herself and Lindsay Clark, who were members of the triple, and now on the pair.
Good girl, Val. Val Smith just sort of stood in front of our camera, but then quickly, they're very short, aren't they? Those two, Selena Goddard and
you just noticed that?
Yeah. Well, sorry, my apologies. It's called old age.
Yeah, they are certainly on the petite side.
So here's Caitlin Inch trying to get down to the jack. Certainly got weight to do so. It's finally going to sit on the Australian back bowl. Still 2 down, New Zealand. Natasha Scott, who I can confidently say in that fours game we just had, Brendan, that Caitlin Inch got on top of Natasha Scott in that particular game. And we've certainly seen throughout the Trans-Tasman, very powerful player Natasha Scott can be, attacking the head. And
well, we're absolutely waxing lyrical about her, weren't we, during the multi-nations, as she was just dominating.
She certainly was.
In some of the games against New Zealand. She was playing for Australia Green, I think. And it hasn't been the same case in the Trans-Tasman.
Here's a good bowl here coming from, just had to get past that, did Caitlin Inch, trying to get contact onto the counting bowls, and still 2 to Australia, and trying to knock the jack back to the blue bowl of Caitlin Inch. It was only 1 bowl offline to get that result.
Yeah, very good effort. Not quite the right line, and looks like Natasha Scott's going to come up short and under the line here, but she won't be too concerned because it's going to be 2 for Australia. So they're on the board in the women's triples, and after 3 of the 18 ends, as we see Sharon Sims, the rink coach, that's her side, up 3-2 over Australia, and it is just finished an end in the women's pairs. So as Taylor Bruce does the honours, it's 2-1 to Australia after 3 ends of the women's pairs. After 3 ends of the men's pairs, it's New Zealand 4, Australia 0. And after 3 ends of the men's triples, it's New Zealand 6, Australia 1.
So, Jack's been delivered by Chloe Stewart, the Australian lead, 24-year-old from the Tweed Heads Club. It's on its way. Shortened the length up here, have the Australians breaking down towards the head. Yeah, we'll go past by a metre and a bit. Plenty of room for Selena Goddard to draw. She's been impressive the first couple of ends. Let things drop in that last end, the third end, but previous to that, her 4 bowls had been right on line to the jack. This is a pretty good opening bowl as well. It's a clap from Caitlin Inch, as it will. Comes in just in behind the jack. Very good bowl by the New Zealand lead.
Yeah, we'll see. We saw in the previous end what happens when she's not on the money, when she doesn't find the range. New Zealand struggled to catch up and puts a lot of pressure on Val Smith and Caitlin Inch when the lead's outplayed. But straight back, finding her line and length, and expect this to be in a pretty similar position as well. Using that first bowl as a bit of a guide.
And there's another good bowl here from Selena Goddard as it breaks down towards the jack. Just going to sit, doesn't quite touch the jack, sits just in behind the jack though. 2 very, very good bowls by the New Zealand lead. As we see, Kelsey Cottrell down on the head. They're going to run all the way. Natasha Scott egging it on. Is it going to make the run all the way? It does. Signalled by Natasha Scott that is the shot. So, Caitlin Inch indicating to Val Smith to stay on that backhand side. She will. With the white and black bowls. Just may get under the line. It is just going to move under the line. Weight's pretty good to get down to where she needs to be, but just going to duck under that line, to that important line, to the centre line to the jack.
I do love, Kevin, that after her 600th game, one of the questions you asked her, what colour do you call your bowls? Of all the things you could talk about, you asked her about the colour of her bowls.
We spoke about a couple of other things as well, but you know, I have known her for a long time. Great tourist.
It certainly is. Wants to celebrate this one in style. Wants to convert here, Val Smith. After celebrating her 600th cap for New Zealand. Wants her 601st to be a Trans-Tasman winner.
So she'll come down on the back end and play up through the head, trying to reach to the yellow Australian bowls. You can sit on the bowls or get to the jack. Here is on the backhand, playing to get down to these counting bowls of Australia. Breaking down towards the head. This is a pretty good line here. How far is it going to run? Get an inside slide. Got the slide. Just went too far afterward, but was certainly on line to get a favourable result. So 2 to Australia as they change over.
Got the men's over 60s, pairs and triples on the screen as well. So behind us on green number 3, we have the women's over 60s pairs and triples and the men's and women's development pairs and triples. I'll keep you up to date with all the action. Certainly Australia's going to win the overall Trans-Tasman. There's no doubt about that. Over the 3 groups, the Blackjacks and Jackaroos in the development and the over 60s. But the women, open women, looking like it could be a good chance for New Zealand to retain the Trans-Tasman.
See, one of the good guys of Australian bowls, Wayne Turley, just arrived here. Wayne Turley, of course, part of the board of Bowls Australia, and of course an Australian representative for a long time. In fact, won Commonwealth Games medals, World Bowls medals, now the bowls coordinator at Tweed Heads, and has got the distinction of also winning New Zealand fours title. Came over with Richard Gervin a few years back, won the New Zealand fours at Henderson. Beat Gary Lawson in the final, who beat us in the semi-final, actually. As we watch the Caitlin Inch bowl come up short.
You haven't got over that one?
I have now.
Oh, you have now?
Yeah,
just now?
Yeah,
What year was that?
Oh, just after the war.
Oh, really? Just after the war? Wow.
Yeah.
You go back that far. Gary Lawson goes back that far.
Well, I can tell you, no, my granddaughter was 2005. That's when it was. That's right. My granddaughter was born.
Not too far in the distant past.
She was born that week, actually, so I remember that distinctly. But Wayne Turley, one of the real good guys, formerly at Tarrant Point in New South Wales or Sydney, and now part of the board of Bowls Australia, Board of Australia as well, OAM. So as they change over, again it's Australia holding. There's Natasha Scott now on the mat. She'll play on the forehand. And Australia holding two shots. Caitlin Inch going short with her first bowl. Caitlin Inch sits, that could be one to New Zealand.
Yeah, look, I don't think it has worked out well for Natasha Scott.
She doesn't like it. She knows it is one. Got the back of the bowl on the draw on the way back. You don't see that happen very often. But got the back of the bowl.
Joe Edwards just Val Smith is working out for sure. Whether New Zealand have got the shot, certainly what Tash Scott was seemingly indicating. Yeah, I think the 1-4 inch in New Zealand. And she might just take that.
I think she's going to. Not going to play it.
And the bowl has been played in the end, but she's just drifting it just so it gets down the other end so she doesn't have to pick it up and carry it.
Yeah, just got a slight touch on the bowl and just curled it round the corner.
Kelsey Cottrell, though, doing the measure to make sure. New Zealand, well, I hope it is theirs.
Hello.
Well,
hello.
Kelsey Cottrell perhaps indicating that Australia had it. So, Caitlin Inch will be not very pleased if it's the case. If Australia's picked up the shot and she didn't play her last,
I was sure it was New Zealand, so when I saw it roll in behind the bowl.
Might be going for one down. So Australia, wow. So Australia pick up one. We're all tied up, 3 apiece.
Well, you just got to move on. Just forget about it. Forget about it's happened. Just one of those errors of judgment.
Yeah, not too much that Caitlin Inch really could have done.
Not a lot.
Anyway. So 4 of 18 ends completed in this women's triples match, and we're all tied up as the Blackjacks women look to retain the women's Trans-Tasman title. They're leading 3-1 today after the first 4 matches. So if they win either this, the women's triple, or the women's pair alongside, they will retain the Trans-Tasman. If they lose both, it's going to come down to differential. They won't want that to happen because that's what happened yesterday. After 4 ends of the women's pairs, it's 2 apiece as well. So that both women's matches locked up. And the New Zealand men are leading both of their matches. It's 8-3. They're leading in the triples, and 6-0. They are leading in the pairs.
A good start for the New Zealand men's combinations, although a dead rubber as far as the overall count is concerned. But I assure you, it's never ever a dead rubber when you're playing against Australia, and you're wearing the silver fern. Every time you go out, it's a test match for sure, and you always want to do your best, and nothing better than getting a New Zealand win. It's just another legend just goes past me, David Goulet of Scotland. And this ball as well as Selena Goddard, setting a drop under the line, and short. It's got to concentrate now and make sure we're getting those balls up to the head and getting back to the centre line. That's the key thing. 3-all after 4 of 18 ends, with Australia holding 1. And this bowler, Kelsey Cottrells, will slip by. So here's Val Smith. Game 601 for New Zealand. Just checking her delivery. Someone moved over there. And don't forget, of course, that you can watch some of the highlights packages, I believe, before and after the Bowls 3-5 tonight on Sky, on Channel 50.
Yeah, afterwards now, because Bowls 3-5's already started.
Oh, it has to. Has to. 6:34. So after the completion of Bowls 3-5, Channel 59, you can watch some of the highlights package here from the Trans-Tasman.
Yeah, if you've missed the first couple of tests, good opportunity. There will be highlights, no doubt, of today's coverage later in the week on Sky. It's great to have so much Bowls coverage on Sky, of course, with Bowls 3-5, and now the coverage from here. Endeavour to have more Bowls coverage over the summer that follows as well. We'll be broadcasting, myself and Kevin, from a number of events around New Zealand. We'll also be back here on the Gold Coast in early February for the next Trans-Tasman.
So New Zealand 2 down as 3-4 short bowls, something that we haven't seen for a while from the New Zealand women's combination. So
it's
just
a big wall there, isn't it?
It is. It's like the Great Wall of China. So just a bit of, come on girls, thinking about it. We haven't got this quite in the bag yet. Still got a long way to go. And we know the resilience of Australians in any sport. They're always there fighting. Now, this is incredible. This bowler, Natasha Scott, this is going to go swoop right across the head. And most out of character bowl from the Australian skip. Still 2 though to Australia.
Yeah, that wall came in handy for New Zealand.
Yeah, because it ran straight across the back of that wall. And so here now is Caitlin Inch. 2 down on the head. Change their hand. This looks a pretty good line. Just got to get under this bowl of this front bowl of New Zealand. Will it get down all the way? Was certainly on a wonderful line. It's still 2 down. I just needed a metre of weight, and it would have been virtually right to the jack line. So Natasha Scott persevering. The backhand side. Definitely holding 2 shots. And all locked up 3-all. And she wouldn't be happy with that either. Two very out-of-character bowls. In fact, when in the ditch, that bowled Natasha Scott's completely out of character. So, on the backhand is Caitlin Inch, the New Zealand skip, formerly, of course, of Oxford, and the Christchurch area, Canterbury area. Off the farm.
It's going to come up short, so 2 to Australia. And they now take the lead, 5-3, after 5 of the 18 ends in this women's triples contest. I can tell you the men's triple, New Zealand getting off to a fast start after 6 of the 18 there. 12-3 they lead. And the New Zealand men's pair is also leading after 5 ends of their contest. They are 6-1 up. The women's pair, Australia though leading that one. A new Australian combination of Lindsay Clark and Beck Van Ash. 4-2 up after 5 of the 18 ends. And those women's matches are the ones that, with all due respect to the men, are the ones that really count, because the women's Trans-Tasman is still alive. Australia have already wrapped up the men's.
So we worked out at differential.
+6 New Zealand was.
+6. Only if there was 2 losses, though. It comes into account, doesn't it?
Well, yep, absolutely, clearly. If New Zealand won one of those matches that we spoke about just then, the triples that we've got broadcasting for you, or the women's pairs alongside the women's triples match, New Zealand win the test, win the Trans-Tasman. But if Australia win both, it is going to come down to differential. At the moment, New Zealand have a relatively slender lead in differential, because all the matches today in the women's competition have been very close. And the
very close compared to what we saw yesterday up at Musgrave Hill, where...
Well, yeah, it's exactly right. Well, we saw such a big margin in Joe Edwards' women's pairs match, along with Taylor Bruce, 24-11, I think it was, or 24-12 they lost.
So here now is Chloe Stewart with the very long hair, the tall player, playing down on her backhand. Looks to be on a better line than her first. Natasha Scott is encouraging this bowl into the head. Look at this, it's going to get right down to the jack. Leaves Selena Goddard about a foot to draw on that forehand side. Green slowing up fractionally this afternoon. There's a bit of cloud cover, and it's certainly slowed down a second or so, no doubt about that.
Yeah, certainly haven't had the bright blue skies, which we've had for a number of days of the bowls.
Great bowl here from Selena Goddard. Look at this, draws around, front touch up. That's the lovely bowl by the New Zealand lead.
Absolutely, it has been beautiful weather here throughout the multi-nations. 7 days of the multi-nations and the 3 days of this Trans-Tasman. We spoke about it earlier in the broadcast. Hasn't been a drop of rain during competition.
So, Natasha Scott indicating to Kelsey Cottrell, get right down to the jack, and she did. Came right through and pulled the jack right towards the ditch. I don't know. Robbie's actually going to move the camera so as we can see. So there's the yellow bowl you can see of Kelsey Cottrell's, which is still up. And we'll see where that jack went to. 1 to Australia at present. So watch this Val Smith bowl. There's Caitlin, it's just there's the jack. In fact, it hasn't gone in the ditch, Brenton. It's sitting out just to the other side.
The left-hand side there. And we'll be able to see it again now.
And that shot from... Yeah. There's 2 jacks moved. There's a jack over here. And
that was the jack from the women's pairs. So the jack's actually right in front of Caitlin Inch, just to confuse us.
Yeah. Thank you, Robbie. So that was a magnificent draw shot by Val Smith. They may well bring it, well, they can just move those. Well, they might have to wait for that head to finish, mightn't they? Because they want to play down there. I think they will, because they're finished on the match next door, on the rink next door, so that leaves that open now. So lovely bowl by Val Smith, and for the viewers at home watching this broadcast to draw where Val Smith is drawn to, believe me, that takes some doing. That's in a exceptionally good lawn bowl. So here's now Val Smith, his second bowl. Good thing about this bowl, it's outside the line of the yellow bowl. There's another good bowl. Have a look at this, Brenton, as this breaks in towards the jack. Have a look at this bowl right to the ditch line. Two magnificent bowls by the New Zealand number 2.
It certainly is. After a messy last end from Val Smith, this is more of what we've expected from her. She's been very good today. On the day, she's played her 600th game for New Zealand.
So New Zealand holding the 2 shots, and I'm sure we're going to see Natasha Scott. She certainly won't be short. She'll try and get down to that jack. And there it is. It's on its way. On the drive, trying to get to the jack. Looks to be to get one of the bowls. Got one of the Val Smith bowls. Took that out of the head. So now Caitlin Inch.
Yeah, I think she was trying to get a bit of an angle on that one and then take out the other shot bowl as well, or take the jack with it. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to access the other Val Smith bowl as it currently stands.
So here comes the Caitlin Inch bowl. There's a good bowl as well. Just got to get down here in front, and this will count. Lovely bowl here from Caitlin Inch right alongside the jack down towards the ditch. I think that Natasha Scott will be able to see those bowls on the other hand and drive the 2 bowls. So
yeah, it's given her a target.
She'll certainly be driving. And here she is on the drive, going for the 2 New Zealand bowls, the blue and the white and black ones down. Got them.
Knocked away Australian bowl as well. And now saying 1 down, because New Zealand, do they have a toucher, do they? Right. In the ditch. I thought I saw an indication from Kelsey Cottrell 1 down. I'm not sure what the 1 down bowl would be.
There must be a toucher somewhere, you would think, for the jack to get there. But Caitlin Inch, here she is. The New Zealand skip, the 24-year-old. Looks to be on a bit of a different line than a first, but it's breaking down now. Got to get past this front. Gets past the front. Will certainly be. Look at this from the 24-year-old. Magnificent. Bolt 2 to New Zealand.
So there must be 1 in the ditch. So 2 to New Zealand. And it's now 5 all, of course. Alex so quick updating the score. I can't keep up with him. 6 ends of 18 completed in this women's triple. So we're a third of the way through this contest, and they can't be separated. And it's no surprise given how close the matches have been so far in the women's triples over these 3 Trans-Tasman tests.
They played that head very, very well, Brendan, because it's so difficult when the jacks moved right out to virtually the boundary line, and Val Smith drew 2 there, and Caitlin Inch also drew 2 there, and that's certainly a good sign and well played by the New Zealand side.
Certainly is, and they've decided to bring the jack right up of New Zealand. So the mat's been brought up a few feet, but most importantly, it's a very short end, as you see after this delivery from Chloe Stewart.
Good opening bowl, though, from Selena Goddard. Very adjacent to the jack.
And then we see how short that is, right up the top of the centre line there. Be near the bare minimum of 22 metres.
Certainly wouldn't be, it's not that much up, that's for sure. Brenton, as we watch this second bowl of Selena Goddard's on the 7th end, just going to duck away under the head slightly, but certainly holding a good shot on the head. 5 all. Just saw Gary Lawson, maybe a confidence booster. Just saw him draw an absolute screamer over in the men's pairs. So as we watch this bowl here, going to get the jack is Chloe Stewart, and she just moves it back a wee bit further to the Australian counting back bowl. So it'll be 2 to Australia. Val Smith. Now we're seeing coming down this way, Brenton, as a very, very good draw on this hand to get around. So there'll be no problem getting around the front bowl of Selena Goddard's to get another bowl handy for sure on the head. As we watch this bowl of Val Smith's now breaking down towards the head. Just got to get past this. Just got to. Oh, she was going to be. That would have been very close, Brendan.
Yeah, it was on a great line, wasn't it? Unfortunately, that Goddard bowl was out there. She got a slice off it, so prevented that path from continuing to the jack. Who knows if it would have made it all the way there? We'll never know.
So Kelsey Cottrell
looking to really emulate that line, I think, from Val Smith.
And she has.
She's going to kiss off that Val Smith wing bowl now. Wide bowl. And that makes it 2 to Australia. Val Smith will just look to try and repeat her previous. There's no short bowl to run into this time.
It's on a good line. How far is this going to come back? Trying to get all the way back. But no, it's going to just duck under the head.
Decent weight.
Good weight to get there, Brendan. Certainly was to rest on it. So here's the second of the Kelsey Cottrell bowls on this N7 with Australia holding 2 shots.
Yeah, so preparing for New Zealand player with a bit of weight. Yeah, a bit of cover for Kelsey Cottrell there. Didn't want to add a bigger target for Caitlin Inch to try and play into. After 7 ends of the men's triples, it's New Zealand leading 13-3. After 7 ends of the men's pairs, New Zealand leading 7-3. And after 6 ends of the women's pairs, it's Australia leading 5 shots to 2. That's all the open action from this green number 4 here at Broadbeach. As that runner goes through that gap between the wide wing bowl of Val Smith and one of the shot bowls for Australia.
Just went by. This bowl, Natasha Scott, that also will stay out on that wide side. Just pushed it out that wee bit wide.
Yeah, I think that's where she wants it, though.
Yeah, New Zealand can't really attack it as so like drive it, because the way how the back's situated, all there is for New Zealand really is the draw. But
come on the forehand, is she? No, surely not. No. Way I thought it was angled before when we saw in this angle, it looked like she was, but no, so you could see the bias certainly.
This is on a better line, Brendan. And this bowl here, as it breaks towards the head, this is superb effort there by Caitlin Inch, just trying to draw down to what the 2 counting bowls, or the jack doesn't quite get to it, but sat on one of the counting bowls. Very good bowl from the New Zealand skip for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to see if it's still 2 to Australia, whether that's cut the count to just 1.
So Natasha Scott trying to add to it by getting inside the blue bowl, and will do. And we'll see. It is 3.
Kelsey Cottrell indicates. Selena Goddard agrees. So Australia now 8-5. They lead after 7 now of the 18 ends. And this is always seen as an important part of any game, the middle third.
Sure is.
And it's been a bit of an issue for New Zealand. I know Gail Melrose, when she was talking about the New Zealand women's pair, it was a bit of an area of concern for them, especially in the early stages of the multi-nations. They eventually got it right, and very unlucky not to win the multi-nations gold, losing on an extra end to Australia.
Last bowl drive by the great Karen Murphy in what was her last match for Australia. Game number 647, was that right, Brenton? Something.
I thought it was 650 plus, but could be wrong.
A lot.
I didn't know if we ever said the exact number, so I don't know where you got 647. Could be. I don't know.
Alex, how many?
It must be.
Alex will disagree with you.
Yeah, he's disagreeing a lot today, actually, but that's okay.
He's agreeing with you.
Oh,
Agreeing with you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Alex. Thank you. So
Remember, you're meant to be off his back,
well,
climbing into him all the time.
so good opening bowl here from Selena. Not quite getting to the jack. The bowler Selena Goddard just needed one more roll. 8-5 Australia now after 7 of 18 ends. 8-5. The women's pairs 6-2 to Australia. So the triples have been pretty consistent, really. Val Smith taking over the head for a minute. Selena Goddard just got to endeavour to draw down there to beat what was her last bowl. It's only about half a metre short. It's on its way. And we'll see in a moment when it breaks in towards the head. Val Smith likes this bowl as it breaks in towards the head. They're already signalled one. Superb bowl by the young lead for New Zealand. Just drops in front of the counting bowl, the Australian bowl, and makes shot of it. Kelsey Cottrell. First played for New Zealand, for Australia at age 15. Played the singles for Australia, of course, way back in 2008 at the World Bowls. So it's a good sider for Val Smith to draw to the last yellow bowl that's just come in. If she beats that bowl by half a metre, will be close to shot.
Yeah, it's quite incredible, really. Kelsey Cottrell has been around forever. She's not old.
No.
But you just think of her as one of the older players because she's started so young.
Certainly did, and has played all positions for Australia. You know, the singles, skip the pair, skip the four, played in all positions.
And it's a great standard as well.
Here is Val Smith. New Zealand trailing 8-5 and holding the shot on this, the 8th of 18 ends. Caitlin Inch from the Broadbeach Club encouraging the bowler Val Smith. Not going to quite just run to the jack. And this cloud cover we've got now as the afternoon goes on would certainly be slowing the green down ever so slightly. New Zealand pairs now leading 10-3 over Australia. New Zealand men's triples leading 14-3. As we watch this bowl run short. So Caitlin Inch indicating to Val Smith we've got a metre and a bit to the jack. Just wants to drop under that, her first bowl, Brendan, and we'll give New Zealand another shot.
Yeah, and the two big matches that matter as far as the women's Trans-Tasman is this one on screen, and also the women's pair, which currently Australia are leading 6-2 after 7 of the 18 ends. So if it stays as it is, Australia will win the Trans-Tasman on shot differential. They'll win this third test by just the one shot. Which should be even tougher to take than yesterday when the Blackjacks women had to swallow a 3-shot loss in shot differential.
Yeah, well, I'm backing that one of these two women's combinations will get up and do the job for New Zealand.
Surely we can come up with some better way to separate it, you know, boundaries or something like that.
Yeah, boundary scored. Oh, no, yeah.
That would help, wouldn't it? Right, why have something simple like shot differential?
Yeah.
And you can have something more complicated.
We
and not obvious.
Who knows, we might wish there was something more complicated by the end of the afternoon, but at this stage we'll back our New Zealand sides. 8-5, the triple side trailing Australia as we play the 8th end.
Weight coming here from Natasha Scott.
Driving the bowl. She's got the bowl clean and ran onto another New Zealand bowl. Still New Zealand holding the shot. Vulnerable.
Yeah, it certainly is. All alone. As that Selena Goddard bowl, as you see one of them in the bottom left-hand corner has been taken on the back of the ditch, and then you've got 2 short bowls of Val Smith, and it's not certainly going to be counting bowls, so just that one Selena Goddard bowl needs a friend, as they say.
It certainly does, and it needs a friend on the other side of the head to where the shot bowl is actually sitting. I just see Joe Edwards changing the board in the women's pairs.
7-2, Australia now leading after 8 of 18 ends in the women's pairs.
So here's now Selena Goddard. Sorry, Caitlin Lynch is given good green, but is it going to get under the Val Smith bowl? Going to get past it with doers. Well, it's okay. It's got past, and if our bowl goes out, well done. It would be 3rd shot. I'm sure we're going to see Natasha Scott play with hefty weight again. Looks like it, the way she's standing on the mat. Asking a question about something.
Was asking, just making sure about her as the back bowl. So this won't be a full-on drive, but certainly running to get rid of that shot bowl of Selena Goddard.
Shot bowl or jack. And fortunately, it's going to be wide and go by. So New Zealand will hold on to that very important one with a bowl to come from Caitlin Lynch, with New Zealand trailing 8-5, holding the shot as we come to the end of the 8th end, 8 of 18.
Yeah, so she was trying to make that correction from the last, and this time come inside that wide bowl of Val Smith.
And she's done that, has Caitlin Lynch. It's under that line that you just
How's the weight?
Just going to run by with weight.
Too much is the answer. So just one to New Zealand. 8-6 it is now after 8 of the 18 ends in this women's triples matchup to potentially decide this women's Trans-Tasman. New Zealand leading in the 3rd and final Trans-Tasman test, 3-1 in the open women's action. Have won 3 of the 4 matches, but at the moment Australia leading both of the final contests. 8-6 they lead in the women's triples, and 7-2 they lead in the women's pairs.
I could say, Brennan, if only, but I look at New Zealand triples now, they're leading 16-3 over Australia. New Zealand men's triples, New Zealand men's pairs are leading Australia 10-3. Just a day too late.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's a chance for them to maybe salvage this and win the 3rd test for the men. Obviously,
yes,
they are 3-1 down so far, and they have had a couple of results which have been relatively heavy. They went down 22-12 in the men's triples, which we broadcast for you this morning, and they also lost 20-10 in the men's pairs, but you know, they have had the one win, winning the men's fours 18-11, and the men's singles was a relatively narrow loss for Jamie Hill, 16-21. He went down. So if they can win in relatively convincing fashion, both by 10 shots or more, potentially the men could sign off by winning the 3rd Trans-Tasman test.
Well, that would be, after the disappointment of yesterday, it would be a good result. New Zealand trailing Australia here 8-6 and 1 down on the head on the 9th end of 18. There's this bowl of Chloe Stewart. It's going to slip by, and Caitlin Lynch saying to Val Smith, either hand, whatever hand you think will work best for you.
So the men, just on a quick calculation, I think have to win their 2 games by a combined 19 shots, and that would give them the Trans-Tasman. Obviously a long way to go yet, but men's triple in particular up a big way. 13 shots they lead.
Well, right, you've got 13, you've got 17 shots out there now in on the plus. But as you rightly say, a long, long way to go.
They've got 19, in fact. Exactly.
Well, they have, actually, haven't they?
So exactly what they know, although Australia's about to score on this end. That's on the men's triples. As we're covering the women's triples, though.
And Kelsey Cottrell just drew alongside. So holding 2, just imperative New Zealand get the shot close. Get some good heads together. On its way, the Val Smith second bowl. It's on a pretty good line to the jack. Is it going to get the jack? It just goes by again. It's just that metre of weight just slipped by. So here is Kelsey Cottrell. And this is going to, won't count, go by into the mixed up inside the New Zealand bowls. Holding 2 are Australia at the changeover.
Yes, so work to do here for the New Zealand women's triple, as there is work to do for the New Zealand women's pair. So I brought you up to date on the open matches for the Blackjacks and the Jackaroos. And also got the men's over 60s playing on the screen. And both pairs and triples. And the pairs, New Zealand are down 9-6. And the triples, New Zealand are down 10-7. Also behind us on green number 3, we've got the over 60s women. And in the pairs, New Zealand are up 16-3. And in the triples, New Zealand are down 10-2. And we also have the development women's pairs. Australia are up 16. I'll make it 15. In fact, after 11 ends, 15. Just trying to see the New Zealand score, 15-8. And then you also have the triples taking place in the women's development. Australia leading 12-9 after 10 of 18 ends. And the last games going on, green number 3 behind us, we have the development men and the pairs leading 19-10 after 11 ends. And there's also the development triples, which are Australia 25-1 after 11 ends. So Alex Reid is preparing to represent the development side. Perhaps their next appearance. Certainly hasn't gone the way for the development men in this Trans-Tasman.
And here is another counting bowl from Australia. Not a good end for New Zealand here. 4.
4 they've dropped. So Australia in command, and this is really the furthest apart these two teams have been in a number of close contests, but now Australia leading 12-6.
Alarm bells.
After 9 now of the 18 ends, or is that the 8th in fact? And Alex already, 9 of 18.
9 have gone.
Yeah, it's hard to know if he's beaten me to it or not with Alex Reid. Sometimes he's very quick, updating the ends and the score. But yeah, we are now halfway through this women's triples contest. This the last session of the Trans-Tasman. This is the third and final Trans-Tasman test from Broadbeach Bowls Club on Australia's Gold Coast. Myself, Brenton Vanessaroy, and Kevin Hickland in commentary. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you the 3 days of the Trans-Tasman as well as the last 2 days of the multi-nations.
And Brennan, to be fit with the development side, the men's development side, the women have gone reasonably well actually, but with the men's development side, to me it rings real big alarm bells because we do have a number of people who talk about some of these younger players that they're, that they're the bee's knees type things. Well, it's interesting, a couple of them have remarked to me that they've got over here and found it really, really tough, and compared to what we're used to playing in the domestic environment, And what it highlights is that despite the best intention of the Bowls New Zealand High Performance Program and the coaching environment, our second lot of players, as we'll call them, are a long way away from being in what I would call the international arena or ready to step onto the screen here. And so there's a lot of work to be done with some of those younger players to get them to a position whereby they can step into a Blackjack's position when a Gary Lawson retires or a Mike Kernahan retires or whoever it might be. And to me, right now, disappointing as it is, there's a lot of work to do, and the results have been somewhat very disappointing. There's a couple of players in that development side who have been well supported by Bowls New Zealand with events and all sorts of things, and really they've just fallen well short of the mark. And
yeah, it's interesting because it's not just the losses, is it? Because they've, going into today, they had 3 wins out of the 12 games in the men's development. They've had 3 losses today and 1 win. So pretty much the same kind of form. But it's often the nature of some of these defeats. We saw on day 1, 30-7 loss in the men's triple. And we ended up broadcasting the second game, which was a much improved performance.
Very improved. Only a couple of shots at the end.
It was. I think it was 19-17 or
very close at
something like that. So, but it's just been the big blowout results, and there has been a lot of the losses have been quite heavy ones.
So that to me highlights concentration to the job, attitude. Is this bowler Val Smith? No, might get second shot out of it. To me, it's about concentration. It's about attitude. It's about fitness, and it's about expectations. And nothing comes easy if you want to get to the top. And we've got to, and I've been saying this for a long time now, a number of these younger players need to go out and play in national events with the likes of the Gary Lawsons, the Mike Kernahans, that turn New Zealand bowl over. No, not quite. They need to get some further experience not playing amongst themselves and get hardened in the. And this is an eye-opener to me, and it should be an eye-opener to Bowls, which I'm sure it will be, an eye-opener to Bowls New Zealand, that right now our major concentration court has got to be on our Blackjacks, but going forward, a lot of work still to be done in what I would call the second-tier aspect of the sport at a high-performance level. Val Smith on the drive, trying to get down to the jack. Going to get inside or outside this bowl. We're getting into sort of danger zone here of how we're playing. Because one would have thought, still then, Brendan, with a Val Smith bowl sitting down behind the jack, you'd have been playing to get down on the draw, or perhaps a yard of weight, like Aaron Sheriff weight, get down to the inside of that bowl, sit the shot bowl, touch the jack. Don't think it was really a head to drive at. It was, it's about options and it's about percentages.
And the Trans-Tasman slipping away as it currently stands. New Zealand need to win one of these remaining women's matches to secure the Trans-Tasman, to keep hold of it. If they lose both, it will come down to differential, and at the moment the differential is not in their favour. Obviously the 6 that they did have an advantage is all gone in this game here, and they're currently 7 down in the other match as well in the women's pairs. So just like it did yesterday when Australia won on differential, as it currently stands, Australia would also win on differential.
Well done. I can see Val Smith indicating to Caitlin Inch that to perhaps play the shot that we were just talking about, Brendan, down and the other thing, you start driving and running, etc., it also puts you off your sort of concentration of where your line is for the draw, your weight control. I know it all sounds very technical, but it's the way it operates, especially at this highest level. As we see now, there's a better controlled weight shot that Caitlin Inch is playing. It's got to be inside the line, though. Can't play it outside the line. It has to be inside the line of the yellow bowl. If Caitlin Inch is inside that yellow line, it will certainly give her a great opportunity to score. as Natasha Scott. If you think back even this game, Brendan, we started the first 3 or 4 ends and we were drawing in clusters. We were getting bowls really close, and now this bowl's going to pull up short, but it's going to. Now this is actually a better bowl for. This is a better bowl for Caitlin Inch because it tightens that line up down through there, and that's certainly the shot to play down through that line.
Yeah, with that previous bowl rested, try and play in off that.
If the Caitlin Inch is to just miss underneath the lowest bowl of Natasha Scott, it's got a direct line down to the shot bowl or to the jack. And what it helps Caitlin Inch is it means that it puts a mind that she won't be playing outside the line, which she did with the first bowl. She can play inside the line off that short bowl. Well, 16-9 now in the men's triples. Must have gone and missed just a few moments ago, I'd say, yeah. Brenton?
Yeah, after 11 now of the 18 ends there. Still going pretty well low, and in the pairs as well for the men. 13-4 they're up after 10 of 18 there. So the men are up, but it's the women's matches which are going to be counting towards the Trans-Tasman.
There's a big shot this bowl, but it's what is it? Too quick under the line. This is the line we're talking about. This is where it's got to be. This is the line. This is the line. Oh, goodness gracious me. I thought she was dead on the line to just what we spoke about to get to the jack, and just got the barest feather off that front bowl.
Yeah, unfortunately. Just one, though, to Australia. So close to being perfect there. Caitlin Inch. Weren't sure about the line initially, and then it became quite clear it was pretty much spot on, just a touch, and we're talking a couple of millimetres narrow.
Oh, that's all it was, because it just got the barest touch, and it gets no touch. And I can assure you that was straight down to the jack line, which is what we'd spoken about, and that's where the Natasha Scott bowl just helped to get that line correction for New Zealand.
So Australia now leading by 7 shots, 13-6 now their advantage after 10 of the 18 ends. So bit of a hole for the New Zealand women's triple to try and play out of. Likewise, there is for the New Zealand women's pair. They are down by 6, trailing Australia after 10 of 18 ends, 9-3.
One of them's got to get up. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Well, if New Zealand are to win, that's for sure. One of them is going to have to come back from deficit, because they're both in deficit at the moment.
So, again, Selena Goddard's going to become short under the line. And this is the time of the game where you just got to make sure that you get that line right. And I'm sure, certainly, the New Zealand side, they'll be doing their utmost to turn this around.
Yeah, of course they will. They're desperate to win back, or retain rather, the women's Trans-Tasman trophy.
So here now is the second bowl. Again, it's going to be under the line. Under that centre line.
Kelsey Cottrell now on the mat for Australia, coming into this Australian women's triple. Herself and Chloe Stewart. Big revamp of the women's triple as Australia made changes to try and turn around their fortunes. New Zealand winning the first 3 of 4 women's matches today, including both the pairs and triples this morning, narrowly. But right now, both disciplines in Australia's favour as game number 601. Val Smith looking to get the weight right and draw back to the head.
It's going to go by. Again, this is before we were holding the shots. Now we're trying to find the shots. And just also, Brendan, congratulations as well to today. Because New Zealand blind bowls are on as well at present. And the winners of the singles were found today at the Frankton Green in Hamilton. So the New Zealand blind bowlers all in action. As the jack's going to get moved here off the centre line. New Zealand are 3 down. So it's time for us to do some scoring. Even get a 1 alter the length. Caitlin Ince just encouraging. Joe Edwards doing the same thing. This is what you expect at the highest level, which this is the real. And underneath the line, so this will move away, but might get, no it won't, it'll be third shot, I would say. You notice, Brendan, that New Zealand's played 4 bowls, and 3 of them were all under the line, ineffective, away from the head. And that's...
Yeah, the longer length end, playing out, struggling to find the right line. The weight's not been too far away, but the line, as Kevin mentioned, 3 of the 4 coming under.
New Zealand pairs, men's pair, Gary Lawson, Chris Alieve leading 15-4 after 11 of 18 ends. So here's now Natasha Scott. It's going to go on the narrow side herself, very much on the narrow side, in fact. So Caitlin Ince, time for, it's hard for her, but simply got to draw a shot. There's no other shots on. Draw the shot. Well, she might prove me wrong and drive the jack in the ditch.
Yeah, I was going to say that's an obvious one that's still on as well. And knowing her ability with the weighted shot as well, I certainly wouldn't discount that.
So she's on the mat, and she's certainly looking at 2 options, I think. And we might be right here, Brenton.
Here it comes.
Going for the jack.
Looks narrow. Might get a touch on. Oh, she does get the jack.
Makes no difference.
It's going to be respotted because it didn't go into the ditch. Came out the side, so it's respotted. The 2 metre mark, so...
Of course, now unable to see the jack.
Yeah, wasn't far away, though, it must be said.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely
good
not.
Attempt. I thought it was going to come under narrow, but it held its line well. And slicing the jack rather than trailing it into the ditch has left it with a big opportunity for Australia.
Scott might help us here, might open this up to a V shot, and it has. It has helped. With the Piers, is the Piers board, has that changed? New Zealand picked up some shots over there, Brenton.
In the women's?
Yes.
9-4 it is? No, not really.
No. So I'm sure we're going to see Caitlin Ince trying to get down, get that split to the bowls. It's on its way. Not going to, unless we get some luck. We did get some luck. How's that for some luck?
Yeah, it certainly is. See if we get just the one.
One to Australia.
One down indicates Val Smith. So, yeah, it certainly was some fortune there. It wasn't what Caitlin Ince was playing for. Australia extend their advantage. 14-6 after 11 of the 18 ends. And as mentioned in the women's pairs, it is 9-4 after 11 of the 18 there. Men's triples, 16-11 up. New Zealand are after 12 ends. And in the men's pairs, 15-8 up after 12. And we also have an update from Alex, who's made his way from the desk alongside us to see what the action is on green number 3. Men's development triples 29-2 down after 14 ends. Men's development pairs 24-10 up after 14 with Jordan King skipping. So it's an interesting development there with Dean Elgar playing as his lead, and obviously that's working quite well. Women's development triples 15-10 down after 13. Women's development pairs 16-10 down after 13. Women's over 60 triples 15-3 down after 13, and women's over 60 pairs are 20-5 up after 13. And we also have the men's over 60 action here on green number 4, and in the pairs New Zealand are down at 12-8, and in the triples New Zealand down 14 something after 12 ends. I'll see if Robbie can see that's 14-8. Thank you very much, Robbie. Teamwork to perfection. And most importantly, though, on screen, the one New Zealand team which had a chance of winning the Trans-Tasman, and in fact was in pole position to win the Trans-Tasman after winning 3 of the 4 women's matches today, is the Blackjacks women. But the current situation stands, it will be Australia who will be levelling the ledger at 3 apiece, and they'll be winning on shot differential, because New Zealand with just a +6 advantage going into this final session of the third and final Trans-Tasman test here at Broadbeach. And currently, obviously on the screen, the Australian women's triple are leading by 8, so that erases that deficit. And the Australian women's pair also leading as well.
So we see the pole of Chloe Stewart, of Kelsey Cottrell draws the shot on this, the 12th of 18 ends, 1 down. Here's the big disappointing thing to me, Brenton, at the development sign. There's a side up there down 29-2. 3 of our young hopes, who are I'll call them literally the golden boys, Taylor Horn, Caleb Hope, Sheldon Bagley-Halley, down 29-2.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's a 16-year-old in the Australian team
there
as well.
There is.
He's certainly showing some of the older young players how it's done.
And this is what we mean about the maturity that these guys play with, their ability, and they just.
Jesse Nerona also playing in that
very good
Australia.
player.
Obviously, he's been playing for the Australian senior team at these multi-nations, which preceded the Trans-Tasman.
1 down, New Zealand, with Australia leading 14-6 as we play the 12th end. And it's certainly gone the last few ends, the last 3 ends. That's what's turned the clock for New Zealand. As you watch this bob, Val Smith now trying to make its way down to the head, get inside the shot bowl. It will, but just rolls out and will leave Australia laying 1 shot.
And the ends are starting to run out as well, aren't they, for this New Zealand women's triple?
They certainly are.
Down by 8. There's only 6 ends remaining after this. And they need to take every opportunity to score. Of course, they need to win this, or the women's pair is tightened up a bit further in the women's pair. So 9-5 it is now after 12 of the 18 ends in the rink alongside this one.
Well, if we think back before, Brenton, highlights of Joe Edwards. We saw Joe Edwards in her pairs, a singles match, against Kelsey Cottrell down 20-3, and all but got up and won that game. So this in the pairs, she's only got to pick up 4 or 5. So who knows? It could happen.
Yeah, it certainly could. It's tight. Only 4 shots between the two in the women's pairs, so it's certainly not a foregone conclusion Australia are going to win this. But the women's triples, Australia more in control. It wasn't always the case.
No, it wasn't. No, New Zealand started off very good.
Five apiece after 6 ends, is that right?
Correct, and we've scored one more since then, while Australia have scored 9. And, of course, in that is a 4 and a 3. So, as we watch now, Caitlin Inch trying to get down to the shot bowl or the jack. Is it going to get to the jack or under the line? Just going to go under the line. Good attempt, hard shot to play. Just got to judge that weight so right to get to sit on the bowl or trail the jack. And of course, this will bring to an end our coverage, our broadcast, which we've been here now for the last 2 days, of course, for the multi-nations, the finals, and 3 days of the Trans-Tasman, and brings to a close 10 days of a carnival of bowls here at Club Helensvale, Musgrave Hill, and Broadbeach, as a prelude, of course, to the World Championships next year. There's a good bowl coming in here from Australia, just going to fall out. Still just one down is New Zealand. And Brenton and I will be back sometime between January the 2nd and January the 8th from the Somerset National Bowls.
Yeah, we'll be covering some of the post-section play of that, bringing further broadcast to you. And then, of course, we'll be back here in just over 2 months' time, early February.
So we're looking at this bowl, trying to get to the count bowlers. Caitlin Inch, just a bowl out, that's all. And another one to Australia.
So 15-6 it is now after 12 of the 18 ends, and the task gets even tougher for the New Zealand women's triple. Now, hate to say it, Kevin, it starts to become about differential. See if you can try and minimise the damage.
Absolutely.
In this match.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you want to try and win, but maybe just now the goals are, let's just score on the next end. Let's just score on the next end.
Or perhaps we could borrow some points off the boys next door.
Yeah, that would be handy. Although those have tightened up a bit as well.
They have tightened up.
Yeah, 15-9 it is in the pairs after 13 of the 18 ends. And in the men's triples, 18-11 after 13 of the 18 ends.
And, of course, a big thanks to Ben, Alex, Robbie and Aaron back in NZ, who are certainly the brains behind putting all this great production together for your viewing.
And our cast of thousands working in behind the scenes as well.
There's
our big production team.
Yep, and there's the catering staff and there's all of those others who you can't see, but they...
Soundies.
The lighting people.
Yeah.
They do a wonderful job.
Yeah, the graphics people, everything.
They're that wonderful, they're invisible. But we enjoy bringing this coverage to you. It's great to see bowls in the format that you're able to view it now, whether it be like on Sky tonight back there in New Zealand, watching the Bowls 3-5, or watching on this new digital platform. And it's great to be able to bring it to you, and we will be bringing you a number of events from the Summer of Bowls in New Zealand.
Yeah, it certainly will. Next big one, of course, will be the Somerset singles and pairs national champs.
Well, it means so much, Brenton, doesn't it, that event? Because, you know,
it does indeed.
It's a big trial for a lot of players, or a number of players. It's a really big trial. So, you're going to see, after quite a wait, Selena Goddard been trying very hard, just managed to draw the shot.
Yeah, from what you're saying, perhaps 6 players, maybe all but confirmed in the blackjack squad for the World Championships.
Yeah,
so maybe 4 openings, 2 in the men, 2 in the women.
I would think so, yeah. Caitlin Inch, Joe Edwards, Val Smith, to me, they're certainties, as Gary Lawson, Ellie Forsyth and Shannon McElroy, and then the other 2 spots in both sides are open, and of course in both cases they're front end players, not back end players. So that's why the national championships is so important. Man, there's a number of players, of course, vying for those 2 spots. You got, Mike Kernan, Jamie Hill, Krista Lee, Andrew Kelly, Seamus Curtin, to name 5 just in the men. In the women, of course, we've got Taylor Bruce, Selena Goddard, Wendy Jenkins, Kirsten Edwards, Lisa Prideaux. Those are players who obviously are in the bad luck for Val Smith. Yeah, they're players who obviously would think that, good nationals would put them in contention to be looked at.
A bit of an odd sight, isn't it? This end, you got 5 bowls almost in a line.
They are.
Val Smith's bowl didn't quite understand what was going on there. A bit wonky, but it's quite odd sight. Certainly it looks like a line from the mat, almost equidistant.
I think the other thing which has happened here at the Trans-Tasman, Brenton, is I personally feel that it firms those names up. There's been a number of what I'd call fringe names have been around the place, and I think now with the results, the development sides, I think those names who are in contention for the blackjack side really are pretty well firmed up on what they look like, and then it will come down to, I'd say, the heart of the nationals, and so it's a big event for them.
Yeah, and the selectors made it pretty clear. If you're successful at the nationals, you'll certainly come into the reckoning. They want their players in contention to perform at the nationals. I know Gary Lawson's always made it a big thing what he's about. Please, winning titles. National titles
absolutely
should have you in the reckoning for the Blackjacks. Of course, he knows about that. He won 13 of them, more than anyone else.
Well, Ali Forsyth this year, he's determined he's going for number 10 title this year. And, of course, he's teaming up with Gary Lawson in the pairs. And he's already spoken to me. He said, I'm going for number 10. This is, and he's been a great supporter of the Nationals. In fact, one of 4s with Andrew Kelly, one of pairs with his father. And so, he's sent the singles, of course. So, always good. He always endeavours to get back to the Nationals. As of Crystal Eve, he's coming back from Australia, of course, to play. Shannon McElroy won't be there. We understand that because of the birth of his second child is imminent around that time, or before that, just before that, over the Christmas period. But I'm picking all the other players will be there. And
I don't think Shannon McElroy has anything to prove.
No, he doesn't have to prove anything at all.
Of course, went unbeaten at the Asia Pacific Championships. Went through both the singles and the pairs without losing a match.
And, of course, then he's played in the major singles event in New Zealand, which is the North East Valley Singles, which he duly won for the 4th time. So, you're right, any doubt. I'll just look over there. Very good to see the New Zealand pairs. Good leading. Oh, there's a Corey Wedlock bowl there as well, but good leading by New Zealand side as they watched Caitlin Inch play good, going to get the Australian bowl right out of the head and run through for shot. And she did. Here's the turnaround. We've got 5 ends to go. And let's hope this is the turnaround. In fact, more than not, he made 2 of that, Brendan, with the front bowl of Val Smith. May well have made 2 of that.
Yeah, of course. Still a couple of bowls to play in this end. 1 for Scott, 1 for Inch. But that's a great work by the New Zealand skip there.
It's a few ends since we've converted or changed anything around, so that's good.
As New Zealand earned another shot in the men's pairs. 16-9, they now lead after 14 ends. And the men's triples, 18-13, New Zealand lead again after 14 ends.
And here's Natasha Scott on target for the blue bowl of Caitlin Inches. Is she going to get it or feather right off? In fact, knock the Val Smith bowl. And there's 2 now. It could be 3.
Yeah, it could be. It's certainly 2.
So if
there's also a Val Smith bowl, which is in a pretty handy spot just in front of Selena Goddard.
Just there. And if we can turn this bowl over here, we could convert this to a 4-shot head.
So you're talking about turning over one of the white bowls on the...
Correct.
That was on the left-hand side, now the right-hand side of the screen. So the inside of those bowls.
And that would also, Selena Goddard's bowl would get a roll out of it as well. And lying the way the head lies, that would also count as well. So here's Goddard is his inch now. He's on a line to those bowls, on a good line to those bowls that we were talking about. Breaking back now towards the head now. Just needs to get one of them, and that'll count. Definitely.
Yeah, so we'll take 2 away. That's what Kelsey Cottrell's done. And now they'll get the measure out to see what is the next closest.
That is quite. This bowl here may be closer actually when I looked now, Brendan. But Caitlin Inch played 2 very, very good bowls then to turn the scoring in for.
All right, that's the third. So I think it's 3. 3 for New Zealand. And that tightens it up significantly. 15-9 now after 13 of the 18 ends. It's much needed. We talked about it. Just for the New Zealand women's triple, just trying to focus on each end. Let's just try and score whatever it is.
Yep.
Get back in the contest that way. It also helps with the differential. You never know. Differential may be the difference.
Well, 5 ends to go, and we're 6 behind here in this feature game that we're bringing to you. And there's still every opportunity. 10-5 in the pairs. Australia leading New Zealand 10-5 after 13 of 18 ends.
Yeah, so 5-shot differential there, 6-shot differential here. New Zealand had a 6-shot differential coming in, so even if New Zealand go down in both these disciplines to level up the ledger at 3 wins apiece in this third and final Trans-Tasman, if they can make them narrower defeats, New Zealand could still win.
Well, yeah, if they can get into a 3-2 defeat, so if that was to happen, they get a 3-2 defeat, well, of course, that definitely...
They would win by a shot.
We would win by a shot, correct.
That's a great opening bowl from Selena Goddard. Right on the money.
Just what is needed.
Yeah, they had a bit of a mid-green chat as well, obviously discussing whereabouts they wanted the jack, but also just a bit of a, well done, 3 shots in that previous end, let's keep it up. Let's see if we can get another 3 or just win this end. And Selena Goddard making a good start, but a great reply by
bowl.
Chloe Stewart, a young lead for Australia.
And sits right on the jack.
It's going to make it tough.
Make it very tough. But now the option, of course, is, let's get some bowls a yard in behind the head. That's nothing short. Let's get them in a yard behind the head, and then we've got a chance. We get them down in just about where Natasha Scott is standing now. We need to get bowls in there, and then we're a chance. Telstra, you try and get 2 the next end. You get 2, all of a sudden you're only 4 behind. You don't have to hunt for numbers. Score 2 and then move on to the next end.
You can see in the background of that previous shot as well that the scoreboard's changed in the New Zealand women's pair. So Joe Edwards and Taylor Bruce have picked up a couple. So now it's 10-7. That's getting closer and closer. 4 ends remaining in that contest. So at the moment, the differential is 9 to Australia. If it stays as it currently is, they would win the third and final Trans-Tasman test by 3 shots. That was the margin last night.
Correct.
3 shots.
We can still get out of this. We can still...
Oh, certainly. These matches aren't over, especially the pairs.
Certainly not. Just the important thing is that Val Smith here gets behind the head. It's an important thing, or pushes this bowl in behind the head. We can't play this head with bowls in front. We've got to have bowls in behind to give us that scoring opportunity. So, Kelsey Cottrell, who just earlier on had that real nail biter against Joe Edwards, leading 20-3, and then only just getting up at the finish. So what we need to do now, this might sound strange, is try and kill it. Get the spot so that we can draw. You can play around with the head as much as you like, but we've got 3 bowls left. Let's try and kill it. and then we've got 2 bowls to draw to the spot. What's your view on that, Alex? Agrees 100%. Yeah. The danger is you start playing around with shots and get absolutely nowhere. So Caitlin Lynch has rightly said to Val Evans, don't worry, Val Smith, don't worry about the head, get down the back. That's what she's done. Now we can attack the head. Possibly left it 1 bowl too late, but now we've got the chance to do that.
And Kelsey Cottrell, I think, will do the same, the number 2 for Australia. Of course, it must be mentioned again that Chloe Stewart and Kelsey Cottrell have come into this women's triple from the women's pair. So a big change for Australia, and so far, so good for them. Got them into a good position. The New Zealanders won the triples earlier today, 17-16.
Now, of course, I'm pretty sure the Chloe Stewart bowl was a toucher, so therefore it's got to be driven. So as that it puts the toucher bowl of Chloe Stewart's outside the boundary pegs and doesn't go back into the head. So here's now Caitlin Lynch with the blue bowls. Skip our triple side on the drive. There's Caitlin Lynch. Looks to be going past on the wide side. Gets rid of that bowl. That's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not a bad second result. If you're going to miss the target, knock away the deep bowl there of the Australian women's triple.
So we watched the bowl. In fact, we watched Crystal Eve on the mat, but it's okay. Natasha Scott up having a look at the head.
Now on the mat. Of course, all the matches are played alongside each other. If you are just new to our coverage here of the third and final Trans-Tasman Test, we've got 4 matches in open competition. Blackjacks against Jackaroos, all ongoing at once.
So this is going to, here's the big chance. Got to drive to the inside of that bowl, which will take the toucher bowl right
that
out
bowl
of the head.
being the shot bowl.
Yeah, it'll take it right out that side of the head, the extremity of the head. And must have just heard what I said there, Caitlin Lynch. It will go out, Jack will go straight back or kill, and we've got the spot. Admittedly, of course, Natasha Scott's still got a bowl left, but we've got to back ourselves to play this shot. As I say, I just felt we left it 1 bowl late to play it.
Yeah, certainly. The young New Zealand skip Caitlin Lynch will back herself.
Certainly will.
Likes to play aggressively, likes to play with weight. Seen her drive at times expertly. Can she find the target this time?
This is closer. This is closer. Out goes that bowl. Back it goes. Look at this, all New Zealand bowls.
Oh, that's worked out magically.
Exactly as we called it, Brendan.
And the jack has gone back. The shot bowl went out. So now with
3 shots.
Yeah, I think is there one in the ditch which is counting? Surely not. There was no New Zealand toucher, was there? So 2-3 shots with that bowl. You certainly think Natasha Scott is good enough to at least cut the deficit to 2.
Well played, though, by Caitlin Lynch. Well played. A superb shot.
Perfectly executed again.
Got the exact result of that split we spoke about. And took the toucher bowl out of play. Jack straight back. So here's Natasha Scott breaking down towards the head. Not going to, look at this, not going to make it all the way. Well played, New Zealand.
So 1 to New Zealand, or was it 2? Couldn't see that. Obviously, that fingers were just out of shot from the New Zealand players. We'll see that the board change shortly, but New Zealand certainly have the mat. They got at least 1, if not 2, and continuing to fight this New Zealand women's triple. It's been a great little fight back from them. They were down 15-6 a couple of ends ago.
Just wait for that board to change over.
It has changed over, but now a couple of the men in the way. Gary Lawson just left a shot there. In the way of our line of sight. It is a couple, so 15-11. 15-11, the score now.
And the score in the pairs is?
That's also got someone right in the line of sight. That was a 3-shot game. It was 10-7, but we've just had an end completed. New Zealand have the mat. It's 10-8.
So we're all square.
We are all square. If the results finish exactly as they are, we will be all square. And then do we go on a count back?
Boundaries.
Yeah, that's when boundaries come in. So that's when we'll count the boundaries. So we'll get Alex Reid to count the boundaries for us.
So they come in.
And then we'll see where we're at. Well, let's just hope we don't get to that situation.
Well,
we don't want a tie on differential.
So
this would be far too difficult to work out who wins.
2 lovely bowls here from Selena Goddard. She's drawn right in behind the jack. First one about 9 inches, second one about 9 inches, the other about 15. Played well. Yeah, superb shot there from Caitlin Inch, no doubt about that. That's what you want out of your skip, Brenton, at this level, to be able to play those big bowls, those big conversion bowls.
And a good start from Selena Goddard as well on this 15th end. So the situation was coming into this final session of the third and final Trans-Tasman Test for the New Zealand women to win the Trans-Tasman Series overall. Of course, it was square test apiece. They needed to win one of these 2 matches. The pairs or the triples, which we're broadcasting for you. They're down in both, but as it currently stands, that would level the ledger at 3-all in the third Trans-Tasman Test, and it would come down to differential. And at the moment, as the scores are, they would be level on differential, extraordinarily.
New Zealand holding 3 shots at present in this all-important triples match as we watch Kelsey Cottrell playing her first bowl. Looks a good bowl. This bowler, Cottrell, is going to get right to the jack. It does, and sits on the jack.
Big bowl that from a big player.
Certainly was. Yeah. Val Smith play down, try and... I thought she'd play the other hand, try and sit the bowl. She gets a touch on the jack. So I agree.
Just 2 ends remaining in the 2 men's matches in the pairs. New Zealand leading 17-11. And in the triples, New Zealand leading 22-16. So the men saving their best for last. It's been a bit of a Trans-Tasman series to forget for them.
Just trying to get down under the line. I just make a point here, Brendan. Why I thought Val Smith might play the other hand is because that way your bowl's not going to disappear under the line. You're coming back towards you're moving back towards the head, moving back towards the jack, whereas the other way you're moving away from the jack. And ideally, if we get a touch on the jack, it's all in our favour because of the Selena Goddard bowl next door. And we finish up, we then get ineffective bowls. Now, this is going to give us on this hand, got to play that hand now. Definitely got to play. We can get the double chip result, get the inside of the first Kelsey Cottrell bowl. That'd run onto the jack. Jack would move out to the side here.
The left-hand side.
2 shots.
So, backhand, you're saying?
Well, I just think it's about percentages, and the percentages are always playing into the jack, not away from the jack. But Caitlin Inch, she's had a good look at the head. She can see what the best options are. She thinks she's on her forehand, and she'll need to play them with more weight if she wants to hold up under that line. And it's coming down now, but this is what I say about under the line, Brenton, that the other hand, you're not going to have that effect. You're playing into the head. And this really, in my view, is when your rink coach just gives a bit of advice about what's that best percentage. Looking at the overall boards, looking at the overall situation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not 100% sure how the relationship works, but just from watching it, it seems more that if the player wants advice, they go to the rink coach rather than the rink coach saying, hey, hang on, this is what you should do.
Yeah, Australia have got a bit of a different approach to that. They'll, when matches are getting down to where the situation we've got now, they'll it's interesting now to see that we've got Natasha Scott is coming out to that side of the head, but it's not really going to get all the way. So to play that line, Caitlin Lynch will need to play quicker to get that ideal result that she's looking for. It's on its way. Down towards the head. Down to trying to get to the yellow bowl, and will...
Not far away, but just getting a slither off another Australian bowl, so hasn't been able to dislodge the shot. So 1-2 Australia. 16-11 it is now after 15 of the 18 ends. So just 3 ends remain. 5-shot differential in this match. 2-shot differential in the women's pairs. Australia have...
New Zealand are holding the shot in the pairs, I can tell you that, Brendan. I just look over there now. So that might just cancel out the one that we've just dropped if we can hold on to that shot. So 16-11 to Australia as we play the 16th end in this triples match. And it may well come down to differential. And at the moment then the differential is 7. And New Zealand holding the shot in the pairs. If they hold that one shot, that again brings the differential back to 6. And how many ends have been played over there in the pairs, Brent?
They're playing the 16th end at the moment. Like we've just finished the 15th end here, so 3 ends remaining in this match.
So a good opening bowl by Chloe Stewart, sitting just down in front of the jack. And Selena Goddard on the reply, breaking down towards the head here. This is going to be pretty handy, this bowler. Selena Goddard is going to finish virtually jack level. Goodness, we've got the Fox Terrier or Jack Russell. We've got canine visitors.
No, dogs can be Bowls fans too, Kevin.
Oh,
Don't
sorry.
discriminate.
So all you dog lovers out there, my apologies. All right. So just a knock on the top of the bowl from Chloe Stewart.
Having a big measure, as you can see, just previous shot left of screen. And the measure in the women's pairs match, which is of equal to importance to this one that we are broadcasting for you.
So here comes the second bowl of Selena Goddard's. Is it breaking down towards the head? Needs to have weight to get all the way through this port to get through. It's just not quite going to.
And just going to end up short, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's Australia who got the shot
They
in the
did.
women's pairs. 11-8. Australia now leading after 16 of the 18 ends there. So now the differential is in Australia's favour officially. +2 differential, by my calculations anyway. I might actually re-go over the earlier games just to make sure my +6 from the earlier games was correct.
Well, talking to Dave Edwards as well before this game started, and he had it at +6 as well.
Yep, confirmed. +6. Well, it's good to know that Dave Edwards, of course, the former Black Jacks coach, had that. I certainly trust him over my shoddy maths.
So here we have now Val Smith New Zealand down on the head, and Val Smith will be trying to reach up to the head. It's going to get under the line. It gets under the line and past. That's not all bad. We need to get counting bowls, especially. Ideally, we need to pick up one or a two this end. Ideally, we'd pick up a one or two on both ends, on both matches. As we watch bowl go through the head.
Been a pretty good end so far by Australia.
Certainly
must be
has.
said.
And we need to be looking for the jack here, I think, down through the port to the jack.
Yeah, between those two Chloe Stewart bowls.
Well, if it even doesn't get the jack, it's going to clean some bowls out, one would think, Brenton, as Australia lead 16-11, 16-11. Zonich doesn't like it. Rolled the hand across, you could see that, straight at the delivery point.
Very nearly ricocheted off her own bowl and took out the jack.
Nearly back cut the jack, in fact.
But, not looking a good head, and bit of a sigh from Caitlin Lynch. You know, she's got some work to do.
We have to score this end, Brenton, really.
Yeah, you'd think to give them some hope, New Zealand, of maybe getting something out of this match. Of course, a draw would be enough.
Yeah.
And in either of the two matches for New Zealand to win the Women's Trans-Tasman. Won the first test, of course, 4 games to 2. They lost the second on differential after it finished 2 wins apiece and a couple of draws.
So Natasha Scott will be quite happy if she actually was to block this hole to this gap. That's made it really difficult to get to the jack. Really, really difficult. More than likely, the best option now is for, on the other hand, onto the front Selena Goddard bowl and try and drive it through the port.
Yeah, I think that's what, just mentioned there by Caitlin Lynch and also Val Smith. And that's what they're going to try and go for. We saw a couple of ends ago, great execution by Caitlin Lynch with a drive. Can she do it again? And this one would be even more impressive.
So on the mat is Caitlin Lynch. Certainly will be on the drive. Trying to get to the grey bowl down there to run it through the head. Going to go wide. Get the target. Well, still 2 down and can't see what she wants to see.
Well, pretty similar to the last end, wasn't when she knocked away the back bowl. This time knocking away the bowls just past the head. So while she missed the target, still come up with something.
Well, I'm sure Alex Reid agrees with me, who's played enough bowls with Aiden Takarau. There's a cannon shot on here. If we see the head again, although we're 2 down, with the right drive, all is not lost. If contact can be made with the front grey bowl, that the Selena Goddard bowl. We watch this Natasha Scott bowl. Well, this might alter things. So,
doesn't.
It's a full-blooded drive onto that bowl there, the grey bowl. It's got to be really quick. That ricochets out, can take those other 2 right out of the head and move the other bowl as well.
Long walk back to the mat for Caitlin Lynch after seeing this situation. A close hand. She'll compose herself, knowing the importance of this shot. New Zealand currently down a differential, just right in front of us. Shake hands time in the men's triples. New Zealand was 24-16 up, playing the last, and now Inch readies herself and will try and do just what Kevin Hicklin said. Drive on that front white bowl. Val Smith is lining it up, and it's coming under the head.
That was the shot. That's just about, you could say, game, set and match.
Yeah, that's at least a couple, wasn't it? Or maybe even 3 to Australia.
I picked it as being 3 with the last Natasha Scott bowl. Wait till the scoreboard changes. But
it already has. Yeah, 19-11 after 16 now of the 18 ends. So, yeah, certainly looking like differential is the only thing that women's triple can try and improve out of this situation. Game pretty much lost, you'd think.
We're -5 on differential, and Joe Evans is playing the last end. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, the penultimate end, the women's pairs. I think it's nearing shake hands time in the men's pairs as well. And just 2 bowls to play, one from Aaron Wilson and one from Gary Lawson. It's New Zealand leading 17-12.
Good comeback by the men today, actually, Brendan, isn't it?
Well, in the last session,
they
still lost 3 of the 4 before this afternoon.
This afternoon they've come back and they won. They won the 4s, didn't they? The Ali Forsyth skip combination won the 4s.
Yeah,
and they're going to walk away here with a win in the triples and the pairs. And
unfortunately, it's not going to be enough differential-wise because they were outclassed this morning, and that's where the damage was done today in this third test. 22-12, they lost in the men's triples, which we broadcast for you, and in the men's they lost 20-10. So those defeats were the ones that are going to hurt them, unfortunately, in this test.
Yeah, I just pleasing to see them finish on a higher note. So here we are playing now the 17th end, 17 of 18 of this women's triples. And what looked like a great opportunity of victory for our New Zealand women blackjack side has taken a big dent this afternoon in this last round.
Is still a possibility. They picked up a single on the penultimate end, so now 2-shot differential playing the last if they can draw.
So what's the draw do?
Draw's enough for New Zealand.
All right, so there we go.
That will give them an unassailable lead in this third and final test, and that will win them the Trans-Tasman. So
we'll go for the draw.
Well, I think, of course, if possible, go for the draw, absolutely. So we'll keep you up to date with the happenings there. That match will finish shortly before this one because they are now playing the 18th and final end in the women's pairs.
So here's Val Smith playing her first bowl on this, the 17th end. Down on the head is the New Zealand side. And trying to get down to the shot is Val Smith, just going to drop under the head slightly.
Yeah, still Australia with the shot, but only one. Was it? Couple at least before that bowl from Val Smith. Trying to add to the count is Kelsey Cottrell and keep New Zealand at bay and to try and win them the Trans-Tasman.
Not again, it was that mid-patch, Brendan. 9 in 9, a 4, a 1, a 1, a 1. Took Australia from 8-6 to 15-6. And these are the little quirky things of which just the things you've got to work on, nullify. And I see the men's pair has come to a close. And I'm assuming that was a New Zealand win.
Unless they dropped a 5 or a 6 on the last 10. Is a good bowl this time from Val Smith. A toucher right on the jack. The jack now in behind the Val Smith bowl. High five from a skip, Caitlin Inch.
Well, let's see what Natasha Scott does here. It's, if I was in her boot, just wait and see what happens, but you straight away be going to get to the 3-shot position, which of course you can do by pushing the rolling onto that green bowl, which is the second shot moved out of the head. You make 3. So here is Natasha Scott now on the mat. The Australian skip playing on the backhand. Might be a bit quick, and it is. And here's the chance to turn the bowl over. Turn it over once would make 3. And let's just hope Caitlin Lynch plays the hand going into the head. Not a what she is going to play on a forehand. Just make sure that I'm playing, on her backhand to rest out the green ball, which you'd see in the middle of the picture here, which in fact is second shot. Now it's breaking down towards the head. Looks on a good line, this bowler, Caitlin Lynch's. Is it going to get to the green bowl? Yes, it does. Not quite enough, though, I don't think. Still only just the one, I think, Brenton, would it be?
Yeah, I think so. Should only be the one. We might actually need Alex or Robbie to go see what the situation is in the women's pair, just to see who picks up what, because it could be absolutely vital. And thank you, Alex Reid. He's been brilliant throughout our coverage of the multi-nations. Is going to check up for us, because it's playing to part of the green that we can't see, so we won't know exactly what happens on the 18th and final end.
Here's a chance for 4, Brendan.
Talk us through it, Kevin.
So play down again, exactly the same line and weight as before. Getting to one bolt rolled out of the green Australian bowl, rolled out of the head, will definitely make 4 shots.
And Caitlin Lynch just pausing to see what happens in the women's pairs, in fact, alongside. And now she'll pick up her bowl.
Same weight, just played on her first on that backhand. To have that yard of weight over the draw. It's on its way. Breaking down now towards the head. It's got to come back now on that line. It's not going to. That was certainly the weight to get to where she wanted to.
And just the one.
Just the one.
For New Zealand, but so crucial that they continue to score. Differential could be the difference in this game. And this Trans-Tasman for the women. So 7-shot differential here now in this game. 19-12 Australia lead after 17 of the 18 ends. We will now play the last. And this last end may very well decide the women's Trans-Tasman. It has come all down to this. There's, I think, one bowl to be played in the women's pairs.
Joe Edwards, I can't see where the jack is. Well, there's one. Obviously, there's one. Oh, there's the jack there.
So Australia's holding at least one, if not.
And what's the score over there, Brendan?
9 to New Zealand, 11 Australia, 11-9 Australia leading, playing the last. Joe Edwards with a bowl in hand.
We need 2 to get the draw. Is there a chance of the draw?
Draw would be a great result for New Zealand, but we'll have Alex Reid telling us exactly what happens when that finishes. So we'll just worry about the women's triples in front of us, because this is equally as important. There's a good start off the front from Selena Goddard, and a pretty good start from Chloe Stewart. A round of applause from behind the rink near us for the young Australian.
Yeah. Joe Edwards, I see, moved out an Australian bowl. Was that 2 shots, is it?
Well, we'll find out. Don't you worry. We'll bring it to you, Kevin. Alex Reid is going to have a nice close view of the situation. And we'll report back. Looks like Beck Van Ash is going to play her last. And I think we might have seen Lindsay Clark signalling 2 down. As the women's triple will no doubt be casting a bit of an eye over to that women's pair rink as well, but they've got to focus on closing this out if it's going to come down to differential, if the pair do end up losing, they've got to try and win this final end. Could be the difference. You never know.
The shot.
Beck Van Ash playing a great shot, so shaking hands in the women's pairs. Alex Reid will find out the situation as to what the final score is there. They are shaking hands.
So I think Australia know what they've done. So back to this triples, and Alex will give us an update on that, but a moment away. But Australia holding the shot here on this, the last end.
Yeah, well, confirmation actually has even gone on the scoreboard, and Alex has confirmed Australia picked up a 1, so they win the pairs. 12-9 to Australia. So what that means is that with a differential of 3 there, New Zealand have to pick up a number here because they had a +6 differential. That's eaten up 3 of it. So now it's only +3. They trail by 7 here. So that takes away the 3. And at the moment, Australia are up +4.
So big challenge, so to speak, for New Zealand. Can tell you that New Zealand men's side did finish on a high note this afternoon, winning in this last round, winning both the men's pairs and the men's triples. So, Val Smith in game 601. Trying to get, it's a great bowl from Val Smith. Now, give me that differential, total differential. What do we reckon?
I think it was +4 to Australia as it currently stands. Of course, that will be when Australia win this match, and they are going to win. It's 2-bowl triples, so the most you can score is at 6. It's looking pretty good the head at the moment after that last bowl from Val Smith in game number 601.
Superb bowl.
So 2 losses could do it for New Zealand, but they have to lose by 2. If they lose by 3, that means it's tied on shot differential, and I don't know what happens there. Do we go back to the previous tests? I don't know, because then New Zealand would win because they've won more matches over the 3-test series.
Well, we'll say this, that we're the defending champions. So that gives us...
And they've had more boundaries.
Yeah, had more boundaries. So that's...
Big discussion. Joe Edwards speaking with Sharon Sims in the background, along with another of the New Zealand players. So big discussion there. Australians interested in this, though.
Oh, what a bowl.
Kelsey Cottrell, and big celebration as well. The Aussies know how important that was. Now, really, it's near impossible. New Zealand need a 5 to make sure of it. A 4 to be equal by my math on differential.
I don't think we're going to come to a boundary count. Yeah. I'm not being critical, Brendan, but we're now trying to work these things out with 2 bowls to go.
Well, just like us, though. It's all a moving feast, isn't it?
Oh.
So I think that's exactly, they're just working out exactly what the situation is.
They're going to get 4, don't they, to make a tie. Is that right?
Yeah. Peter Ballas is getting involved as well.
Joe Edwards just signalled the number.
She just said 4 to tie. You've got to make sure you got this right. That's why they're taking their time.
Oh, no, that's fine.
And obviously, they had to wait till Joe Edwards' match finished and found out the
that.
result there. Dropping a 1 on the last was unfortunate for the women's pair.
Well, that came down to that last bowl that was played really by Rebecca Van Ash. So New Zealand had a chance to get to the draw, which... So, where's the 4 shots? Where have we got the 4 here?
Oh, find them for me, Kevin.
Okay. I wonder if they've got a...
Yeah, unfortunately. We had Selena Goddard in the way of the camera, but now Caitlin Inch. Try and come up with something special here. You could hear a pin drop at Broadbeach. Everyone intently watching this. Is it going to come around the front bowl? Yes, it is. Is it going to trail the jack back?
Right,
no,
now
it's
there's
not.
4 on.
Now you can see 4.
Yeah, certainly can. So the draw into here.
And so here, when you talk about here for our viewers.
So up in between the 2 Val Smith bowls and just out from the blue Caitlin Inch bowl. And the Caitlin Inch bowl would go there on the draw as well. Would make 4 shots. And this bowl is going to muck that idea up.
Now how do you make 4? Yeah, beautiful bowl from Natasha Scott. She knew your plan.
She did.
She foiled it.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Can't see 4 there now, Alex. Can you? No.
Alex Reid from the Point Chef Pirates wants to call a power play. Obviously, part of the defending champion Pirates from bowls 3-5, where there is a power play. There's no power play in this format.
Perhaps what they do then, if it's all tie, they go and have a one-end shoot-off. They go to have a tie break.
Tie break in, do you think?
Yeah.
I don't think so. 4 to tie seems unlikely, and surely if it is tied, it'll go to the differential from the last 2 games. And of course, the first test, New Zealand won 4-2, and that should be the difference maker. It should go to matches 1, I would have thought, over the Trans-Tasman series. So a draw would be as good as a win for New Zealand. Of course, they are the holders as well of the Women's Trans-Tasman. It all comes down to this for Caitlin Inch. Can she come up with a miracle?
Of course, this would give Australia a clean sweep in all divisions.
Certainly would.
So it's gone by. It's all over.
And the mat has been picked up. And that is it. Australia have won the Trans-Tasman in all formats comprehensively in the end. It's been a draw in this Women's Trans-Tasman test, the 3rd and final test here at Broadbeach. But Australia win on differential, just as they did in the 2nd test at Club Helensvale. Disappointment for New Zealand, well executed by Australia, and they celebrate with the men who have also won the Trans-Tasman and now the development players, and you'll no doubt see the over 60s get involved. This has been quite some performance overall, and Australia showing their strength and depth once more.
Oh, no doubt about that, Brenton. They've certainly been a power from day one of this Trans-Tasman in all aspects of it. You know, especially, of course, I'd say in the men in that the first 2 days yesterday, they were just super convincing. But I think what I've got to do out of this is look very, very much at the positives out of the whole thing. We have found a new skip for New Zealand. That's a plus. Caitlin Inch has certainly been outstanding. Although we went down in the finish, she's been outstanding. I've still got some questions about the front end of what we do with the front with the New Zealand's both men and women. Selena Goddard, I thought she was pretty consistent with the men. Personally, a lot of people may disagree with me. I think Krista Leave has actually equipped himself very, very well throughout this. A guy who was just a lead, won a gold medal in the Multi-Nations, has come back and led here, changed around, and has done fairly well. And a front-end player is certainly what New Zealand are looking at. The development side, I think a number of the women's games, they went fairly well. But the development men, I would say, in the main, an absolute disappointment of the development men, and a lot of work to do from the New Zealand high performance and coaching aspect to get them up to play. But at the end of the day, Brendan, we can't take it away. Australia were convincing. Australia were deserved winners. We had every opportunity going into this last round with the women not to be. They gave it their best not to be, and Australia win all 3 divisions here in both the men and the women, as we see the Australian team out there on the green celebrating. But it's certainly been a great 5 days, bringing you the Multi-Nations, of course, and now the Trans-Tasman and we wait now for our next internet. Well, the Somerset Nationals, of course, is our next appointment that we've got to bring you the TV coverage of. But a lot of soul searching to do for the New Zealand selectors. The big thing to me, though, is that we have found a skip in Caitlin Inch. We've now got 2 international skips in Joe Edwards and Caitlin Inch, and we can now build upon that in our other players that are needed. The men, remembering Shannon McElroy's not here, Mike Kernahan is also in the frame. They need to get more consistent, and let's just hope, Brendan, that we can see when we come back here in February for the second Trans-Tasman that we see a New Zealand side with a W at the end of 3 days played.
So it has finished 3 wins apiece for both the men and the women. Blackjacks in this third and final Trans-Tasman test here at the Broadbeach Bowls Club. But the men and women have both gone down on shot differential. Australia win the overall, they win the men, they win the women, they win both development, they win both over 60s. Congratulations to Australia. We'll do it all again in a couple of months for the next Trans-Tasman back here at Broadbeach on the Gold Coast of Australia. Big thank you to Kevin Hickland for all his expertise, to Ben and his team for the magnificent production they've brought together. I'm Brenton Vannisselroy, wishing everyone a good evening from Broadbeach.